Welcome back to podcast episode 5. Thank you so much for joining. We have a very special guest as usual, but today we have a very, very smart character in Matthew Higgo. We will be discussing IT structure as well as how the data works to utilize Lanza the best from a client's perspective. Matthew, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Andre. So, as you heard, my name is Matthew. I'm part of the Gordian Logistics team in Cape Town. My role is to manage the data collecting and mapping from the clients, making sure that it's securely saved and that at the end of the day, we will create your supply chain network within the Lanza tool so that you guys recognize what you see and can use it for your daily functions.
Thank you for that brilliant overview. Took the words out of my mouth. To start us off, let's talk about what is maybe required and maybe the minimum requirements for a business's ERP or IT infrastructure to begin the journey with Lanza.
So all businesses tend to run on some or other ERP system, whether it be SAP or another very modular one that you've perhaps purchased online. It doesn't matter. Lanza will integrate with all of it because we go through and we make sure that the minimum stuff that we request gets exported and mapped correctly. The things that we do need are always to do with your SKUs, so the pricing, the lead times, those kind of stuff. If the data is not readily available or if it's not being maintained, like the criticality and that kind of stuff, that's not an issue. We actually can work with you to make sure that your data gets even more updated and rectified and stuff. We find faults along the way and we work with our clients to make sure that at the end of the day, what we're pushing back is better than they had before. We require things like your supply lines, which allow us to identify what kind of purchases you're doing, how much are you spending on certain areas. We require your demand data in order not only to understand what are your fast movers and your slow movers, but it also gives us a lot of insight into what results from your spending into actual turnover and what are the things you need to focus on. So your required data is minimal, but it goes a very long way.
Brilliant. Now, let's start with Lanza. Maybe a little high-level overview of what Lanza is.
So Lanza is a really powerful and very insightful inventory management tool. It allows you to take a snapshot of where you're currently sitting, generally at the start of the month, and realize what has occurred. Have you guys made good decisions? Have you made bad decisions? What are the things that really are causing problems, or what are the things that are really like standing apart from the rest? It's a tool that allows you to see how things work that you never got to see before. If you were to ask me, my favorite thing is the fact that I can, in a few clicks, be able to see all the problem children of my SKUs and know exactly where to go looking for solutions rather than just trying to identify problems.
Great. Now, for companies that are worried about their IT capabilities, is there an easier way that Lanza helps clients?
So Lanza is modular. It's not something that we build into your software. It's actually something that we add on. It's a web-based interface, so you guys would be able to access it through any web browser. We get an extract of your data every month, and once that's been processed and uploaded, you guys will be able to access it from anywhere, as long as you have an internet connection. It does not interfere with your ongoing ERP systems or anything like that. There's no additional costs that need to be maintained on that side at all. It's pretty seamless.
Great. Question about exporting the data into Lanza. How can we help the clients do that efficiently?
So we always have a data mapping session where we sit down and do our due diligence. We go through every single field that may be required, things that we would like to have for additional input, understanding how your ERP system works. And then from that, we manage what works best for your extraction. So whether it be you can only do Excel or CSV extracts and share it to a SharePoint drive, that's fine. If it be something like being able to do full text delimited extracts from SAP and those kind of things using the core tables that lie in the background so that you don't have to create complicated queries. We manage all the data mapping after the data mapping session to make sure that at the end of the day, the story that you want to be told does get told.
Can you share the easy ways that clients can gather the right data, even if there is limited capabilities?
So Lanza is really nice and accommodating when it comes to what kind of data you can provide us with, whether it be a CSV file, text delimited extracts, or something as simple as an Excel sheet that you've just typed things out, like your criticality list or whatever, for example. We can import pretty much anything. We've even received from some clients copies of their entire database, and then we can upload that database just as is, and we'll extract the data straight from there. So we can accommodate near anything.
Brilliant. Question on the current, let's say, operations for the clients. How can there not be such a huge, drastic disruption to the daily operations when implementing Lanza?
So Lanza is modular. It does not get implemented into your existing ERP system. It's something that takes data from the ERP system and then you can use it. It's web-based, so at no point does your system need any maintenance or downtime or anything like that in order to have Lanza get introduced into it.
If the clients face data challenges, how can Lanza assist to overcome them?
So data challenges are things that happen every single day. We encounter all kinds of stuff, from odd pricing to missing data to poorly maintained data, down to descriptions and stuff. We work with the client to identify all these problems, not only like the ones that they're aware of, but the ones that we encounter and notice ourselves. And either we will reach a conclusion of some assumption we can come up with, but ideally what we tend to do, especially during implementations, is we rectify it and we push back clean, better data into their system, rather fixing the problem than trying to put a plaster on it.
Well said. I am curious about, is there any educational resources or services that can be provided to assist clients to tell where the data should go for optimal use of Lanza?
So we provide a number of educational, not only educational, but helpful tools. So the first one being that when it comes to acquiring the data, we give them a list, we give them a specification, and we actually, during implementations, even create a very tailored specification document to make sure that at all times the client and Gordian is always aligned with what is being used and how it is being manipulated to give the story that is their supply chain. All documentation is pretty standard to start off with, and we work from there. We make sure to do data mapping sessions, so we work through it very intimately. But other educational things on the Lanza side include things like learning how to use the tool, making sure that your inventory manager is familiar and up to date on forecasting methodologies, all the different inventory policy methods, when to use them, what's best practices, etc. And how do they tie into Lanza? Where do they show up in Lanza? When do you change a setting in Lanza and when don't you? It's all those kind of things we provide in all kinds of educational and helpful informational tools for.
Super helpful. Thank you. Now to throw you in the deep end with one more bonus question. In your knowledge, right at the top of your head, is there perhaps an example that you used in real world terms? Don't have to name any names, but where there was an example where there was a data challenge and you were able to effectively solve it to bring the best out of Lanza?
So recently we had to help a client with not only their procurement and that kind of stuff, it was also doing a little bit of data cleanup, making sure that their descriptions are up to date, identifying parts that have perhaps been duplicated over the years, trying to change the descriptions from what's been manually inputted over the last 20 years into an ISO standard. For that, we've used everything from some operations research formulas all the way up to a little bit of machine learning. And yeah, we managed to do a good job. We work with them, and we actually have sent a consultant to site to go through the store and make sure that all mechanical data, all specifications, that kind of stuff that is required for their own manufacturing processes is absolutely up to date on SKU level, because you don't want them to accidentally recreate another duplicate. You want to make sure that they can find it quickly, and that if they were to, it would trigger. So yeah.
Very insightful and very impressive processes you got there, where it's also nice to know you go on site to also identify things that, there's some discrepancies between what's in real life versus what's on the data, the paper.
It's very important. We always make sure to send clients to each site and make sure that they completely understand not only just what the business is and what they do, but to hear from the people that are working there, what's their problems, what do they experience, what do they feel is always out of stock, what do they feel irritated by finance for withholding things from, or whatever. It's not our goal to identify problems, it's our goal to optimize the supply chain. And the best way to do that is to observe what is actually happening physically in the real world and then do something about it.
Fantastic. I knew I chose the right person for these questions. It's always important to remember that every client is different. So you've got to also have an ad hoc mindset to it when you're approaching a new problem.
Absolutely.
That has been episode 5 of Inventory Insights. Here we were understanding how Lanza is effectively used by the client, specifically in terms of data, gathering it and implementing it in Lanza. We've had Matthew Higgo here to tell us all about the good stuff. Any final words from you?
Subscribe. Join the podcast.
Brilliant. Well, I'm very much looking forward to having you again next time. We'll have you on soon.
Thank you. I look forward to it. It'll be fun.
Fantastic. That's been Inventory Insights. Please subscribe, comment, let me know, and also check out the website in the description, www.gordian.nl. Fantastic. Please enjoy. Cheers.